Chris, what you got?
So it appears that Microsoft has begun blocking unauthorized accessories like controllers and adapters for use on their Xbox consoles. There's a recent system update, and then users that use these various devices started getting this error message. And then when you would go to the support page to see what does that error message mean, because a lot of times I don't know how it is for you guys, but anytime I get an error message, it's just like some weird random letters and numbers. I'm like, but what's the problem? And you got to go to Google and go search it up.
What's 090011X mean?
Yeah, J52. Yeah. I don't understand. If it had been J53, it'd have been just a reboot, no problem. So anyways, the support page basically says that using unauthorized accessories compromises your gaming experience. And so oddly enough, because Microsoft hasn't confirmed that this is like a new policy change or anything like that, but it says like, you'll have about 2 weeks to use this device. And then it's going to be blocked permanently. So I don't know if that's a per get the error. So like 6 months from now, if you plug in something and that you get the error, is it going to be like, is there this 2 week thing? Or is it just mean in 2 weeks, like period, it's going to be going away? So of course there are unauthorized things that can be plugged in that you can, use for like cheating and give you, advantages that other people don't have just with using a normal controller or even one of the like elite controllers and various things like that. So in that sense, for those types of devices, I feel like this is a great thing. You don't want people to have an unfair advantage especially in a competitive game, where they shouldn't be having that. But at the same time, there are other platforms, and there's this one manufacturer named Brook Gaming, and they specialize in like converters, so that you could use like a fighting stick, and you could use it on your Xbox, but then you could use that same fighting stick on a PlayStation or a Nintendo Switch or whatever. Or maybe you play on Xbox, but you just don't like or can't get your head wrapped around the offset stick, so you don't want to use your PlayStation controller on the Xbox, or vice versa, the Xbox controller on the PlayStation. And these types of devices will help convert that signal so that then you can use your preferred device on there. So there's instances like that where it's not necessarily that it's not nefarious in any way. It's just giving them the ability to play in a more comfortable environment. But as an unintended consequence, you may think because of this, those are going to be blocked as well. Now there's some talk or some kind of like insider information that maybe Xbox is going to open up more of like a platform where people can then submit and be like, hey, I want to get authorized approval to be able to be, because at the moment it's seeming like only things made by Microsoft and then authorized partners. So like your Razer and your Logitechs and things that have official licenses, their stuff's not going to be blocked. So if they open up like a portal where people can then submit like, hey, we want our device to be part of your approved devices, and then that would better weed out like just the nefarious ones, and then still let you keep the ones that are just for, hey, I would rather I want to use an N64 controller on my Xbox. I mean, why someone would want to do that, I have no idea, but there might be somebody out there wanting to do it. So we'll see how this is going to go afterwards and see if it actually does open up the door for more things like that. It wouldn't surprise me if it goes that way, but it also wouldn't surprise me if they're just like, nah, Doc, you got to stick with the officials. So I don't know. We'll see.
Right.
Have any of y'all ever used any of those kinds of things?
Never have, no.
I haven't, but what it does bum me out, because I know there's a lot of accessibility options out there for people that can't hold controllers and stuff like that. And so you hope that they create an easy gateway to be authorized. You know what I'm saying? So, because it does say unauthorized, so it's not necessarily meaning Xbox only, but like Scuff, has controllers, and you would hope that they would be an authorized dealer, so that you can still use Scuff controllers and stuff like that.
I wonder if I would think Scuff already is, but maybe they're not. I don't know.
No, I'm saying they probably are. I'd imagine they're an authorized dealer. But hopefully, as they weed out the things that help people cheat, maybe they do implement more and more that fall under the authorized banner. Just because I know things like the hitbox and stuff like that, Toby's son has muscular dystrophy, and we bought him a hitbox because it was easier for him to do that than do a controller. Well, you would imagine that that's not an authorized thing, but it can work across a bunch of the platforms today. And so you would hope that that's something that is looked into, and not that Xbox would be like, sorry, you can only use our accessibility controller.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because so many people have so many different needs, that's where my head goes to first. It's not like, oh man, I can't use my Scuff controller. But I'm like, oh man, for those people that kind of have to use some kind of specialty controllers to just to game, period. Yeah. Hopefully that doesn't get robbed from them, because that would be a huge bummer.
Yeah. The only experience I have back in the PS3 360 days, I had a PS3 first, and then when I got a 360, I know I'm odd man out on this for a lot of people, but I absolutely hated the 360 controller. And in fact, I couldn't use it for very long. My hand, it would just start bothering. My hand would cramp, especially my left hand. So I bought one of those devices that would convert it and let me use my PS3 controller on the Xbox 360. Now that problem went away when the Xbox One came out because I tweaked the controller enough that I didn't have that issue anymore. And then on the Series, I've not had an issue either. So I haven't used one in a long time. But even back then, it was a little, probably because it was unofficial, it was like a little janky and didn't always work 100% right. So I ended up kind of moving away from it anyways. But if I would assume today that they've got better versions of that type of thing. So yeah, to your point, I would be bummed out that anybody who relies on those for whether because it's an actual need or they just strong preference. I hate the idea that they can't use that to just, play a game.
Yeah. And I understand, there's probably a money aspect behind it as well, but I it's so nice to be able to buy, even though they're cheap and feel cheap, but like just to buy those fun colored translucent PS4 controllers for my sons. You know what I'm saying? They're like $30 instead of having to go buy $70 official PlayStation controller. Right. And so again, we're talking about authorized and unauthorized. We're not necessarily talking about Xbox, specific and not. So I just hope that more of those make their way into it to where you can still have the $30 option for those that can't drop $70 every single time they want to game with friends, couch co-op.
Yeah.